We're here at Domain Summit London 2025. I am with Charlotte. Well, why don't you start by telling us what brings you to Domain Summit?
So I grew up as my dad is quite deep in the industry. Just growing up, I went to a lot of these domain summits and I just started becoming curious about finding out more what this even is, because I just had a very loose understanding of what domains are, what TLDs mean and all of that. So when I got a little older, I really wanted to find out a bit more.
And what sparked your interest in domains initially?
I think it's just the variety because nowadays there's so many new domain names and just different things you can do with them instead of just a .com or the ones that you've had around for generations. So I think the variety, and that is a really new and upcoming sector. I think that's very interesting to me.
What value do you see in owning a domain? I know a lot of Gen Z, maybe they have their social handle, their username, and they don't even think that maybe they should buy a domain.
Yeah, I think it's quite useful because at least I know at school, friends will always start searching you up on the internet and think like, oh, look how funny. Or when I was younger, my parents, I would search them up. And I think if you don't have something on the actual internet, because your social media, you have to go on a social media website to find that, people are less likely to find you. And so I think it's quite valuable, and also just to build your own brand.
100% agree there. So what do you think of the new TLDs versus .com? Is .com still king? Is Gen Z entertaining the new
I
TLDs?
think, well, .com is of course still much higher up there, but I do believe we are a lot more open to new TLDs. So personally, I wouldn't find it suspicious if I saw something, for example, an online shop and it said .shop instead of .com. I think, okay, fair enough. It makes sense going together. But if it was something that just is completely unrelated, so there's a lot of these fake delivery services. So they'll have a DHL website and then have a domain name that has nothing to do with it. And I just think, well, that's a little bit suspicious. But I think in general, overall, we are a lot more open to new TLDs rather than the old ones, so .com.
Yeah, I totally agree with you from a safety perspective. What do you think from a branding perspective? Is Gen Z embracing these new TLDs? Are they hoping to get the .com? Or what do you think?
I think because for my own website, I didn't necessarily feel that there was a need to have a .com, because at the end of the day, it's the first part, your brand name that people are looking for, not whether you have a .com or whether you have some new TLD. It really isn't that much, doesn't make that much of a difference anymore. So I think from a branding perspective, we are a lot more open to buying new TLDs rather.
What advice would you give to young entrepreneurs who are maybe starting a blog or they're an influencer, just building a personal brand?
I think use a domain that is memorable. That is the most important, because when I was little, we would have to, when I first started using computers and it was all new, and so obviously this is the same as the older generations or the younger ones, there's these domain names that are super long and super difficult to remember and you just would never remember them. And I think it's better to have a new TLD that is less common than a super, super long .com, because nobody's going to remember that. And nobody has the time in their day to write 100 different letters and numbers and whatever, rather just write one word and then a dot whatever.
I totally agree with you. I just did a video about dashes and domain
Yeah,
names. I'm like, please don't use dashes. Use a
exactly.
different TLD if you need to.
Yes, yes, yes. I totally agree with that.
Absolutely. Well, Charlotte, thanks so much for taking the time to
Thank
chat.
you. Yeah,
And come check out Domain Summit next year. It's going to be awesome.
definitely. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you.